and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coffee Cast. Tonight is Pro Edition, so I will be bringing you a best of 3 between EG's Idra and EG Puma. But I am not here alone right now. With me, I have my wonderful moderator and co-caster, Sleepercells. How are you doing, Sleepercells?
I'm doing actually excellent because we get to watch a little bit of EG's Idra play here. Of course, him spawning as the Red Zerg up in the upper right corner of Shakura's Plateau. His opponent, of course, EG's Puma. Both of these teammates really close. But I don't know actually how close they are personally, but I do know both of them do train together, so both of them do know each other's styles. Puma, of course, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner as the blue Terran. So I'm certainly looking forward to this matchup because when you get teammates together, there's a little bit of extra rivalry in there as well.
There totally is, and let me just say, I'm not much of a Terran fan. However, EG Puma is amazing, and I love watching his aggressive style play. He can pretty much he's one of those Terrans that can do whatever. I've seen him do it kind of MVP style, where he just goes straight up, gets a big ball unit, and pushes down the front. And I've seen him go select style, where he just drops and drops and drops until his Zerg opponent crumbles. So I'm really interested to see what he will do in this best of 3 against Idra.
Oh yeah, I actually have not had the opportunity to see these games either, but of course, if you do follow a little bit of Starcraft, these are from the NASL. I think this was in the semifinals of the NSL. Great tournament, check it out, awesomely done, but at least what I'm assuming what these are from, because these are the most recent replays, of course, from these two particular players.
I assume that would be a fairly good guess. We do have Idra going hatch first in this matchup, followed very shortly after by a pool. I do like hatch first on Shakura's Plateau. Obviously, the rush distance fairly long on this map. Not the longest, but it is fairly long. And that really allows you to gain that quick economic lead in the early game. And as Zerg, you always want to try to do that when you have the chance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, almost 9/10 of the maps, in general, you're going to be pretty safe going for this early hatch first versus the Terran player, simply because Terran's early aggression is that 2-rack style. But really, if you're good enough, you can scout it, you can take care of it. It's not too terribly difficult to handle, and especially not for somebody as high caliber as, of course, EG Idra. And if we do look back at Puma's base, he's going to go ahead and drop a command center here. 1-rack's fast expand out of him, so he does not want to be left in the dust here in the economy front.
Indeed, that was a perfect follow-up. He did see that. He has his scouting SCV over in Idra's base, so he knows that it is definitely safe to be going that command center right after his first racks, because with the hatch first, the pool gets up a lot later. You don't really have to worry about Zergling or Roach aggression nearly as much for at least a little bit longer. So definitely a good follow-up by him. Now, Idra doesn't have any gas yet, and once again, Puma does know that, so definitely nothing too terrifying coming out of Idra, unless he just decides to go for a 200 army of Zergling, which I can't see being all too effective.
Well, to be honest with Idra, you'd never know. He could do that and win every game ever, because Zerglings are kind of good. That being said, though, I sincerely doubt that. Although this is a pretty safe opening, of course, on Shakura's. It's got this ramp here. We do see a little bit of poking action from these Zerglings, but the Marines are going to be easily able to fend those off. But yeah, as I was saying, front, this ramp here is going to be easily defendable by Spine Crawlers, which are being thrown down by Idra right now. Very rarely are you going to be able to see a Terran just sort of march up this little ramp with Spine Crawlers at the top.
Indeed. Now, it looks like we are going to be having Hellion play in this combat, as we do have the factory going down next to the barracks on the top of the ramp, and the barracks is getting a reactor down on it. So, very popular play by Terrans, obviously. A little bit less popular so since the Hellion nerf, but still a very valid build, and nothing that a Zerg can discount.
Oh no, nothing at all.
Should be fine with the Spine Crawlers on top of the ramp, though. The evolution chamber could be placed maybe a little bit better. There is a little gap there between the buildings, I think, for the Hellions to get by, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Idra, of course, seeing those Marines moving out, he is going to be aware that there is going to be some sort of little poking action, but he's going to have plenty with this Spinecrawler to deal with that. Idra, of course, not responding overly so, just making a couple extra Zerglings. Not quite sure where the end of that aggression lies. Just getting a little bit safe, tossing out a few extra Zerglings, but other than that, he's just making flat drones here.
Indeed he is. Now, Idra did just pull up that Spinecrawler, moved it about an inch to the left, and reburrowed it. I guess every little bit of positioning matters in this matchup. but it seems almost trivial.
I think that when he moved it, if I'm not mistaken, the range of the spine crawler will now extend to the bottom of the ramp.
Okay, that would make sense.
The bottom left or the bottom corner over here where that Zergling just ran past.
Okay. We do have Metabolic Boost about halfway finished for Idra now. So, that is always nice to take map control with. Just being able... Oh, and Idra is going to scout these Hellions now. Hellions were sitting at the watchtower when the Zergling tried to run by. There are 4 Hellions out on the field. 2 more just about to finish. 4 more just about to finish.
Look at this reaction from Idra, moving the spine crawler back, dropping a Baneling nest to help wall off there. Now the only gap is the one that this queen, of course the third queen that Idra built smartly so, will be able to wall this off. There is no way these Hellions are getting in and doing almost any damage.
That was a beautiful reaction. Once again, we have double reactored factory on this. So there could be a lot of Hellions at any given point, and Idra, smartly, like you said, walls this off, just needs to put that queen back just a little bit further to make sure the Hellions can't get by. But it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Idra is well prepared for this. And Puma, I would assume Puma knows that he's not going to do too much damage with this. Hellion play does not... Oh, and here comes the Hellions up the ramp, trying to push past that queen.
Actually going to be able to burn down that queen. That is a lot of Hellions able to burn down the queen, and there they go. They're going to go ahead and go in here. Zergling's trying to get a little bit of surround, but that choke now working against the Zergling. Spinecrawler doing a lot of work, though, and those Zerglings coming in to the reinforce are going to be able to clean up these Hellions, no problem. Or maybe not. These Hellions just doing a lot of damage to these light unit Zerglings, but they will finally be cleaned up here by these Zerglings.
Indeed, doing a lot of damage to those Zerglings, but not a lot at all to the drones. I don't think a single shot got off into the drone line. Now, once again, as I was saying earlier, Hellion play is still popular, but a lot of the time you don't really expect it to do too much damage anymore, as much as it is just to keep the Zerg player on his heels. We do have Idra taking a third, and EG Puma going over to scout that now, going to be able to take out the Lings that are over here, but probably not take out that expansion, as Hellions are just almost worthless against buildings.
Yeah, that being said, though, he does have enough of them that if let continue to burn on this for a while, he will be forced to cancel that hatchery because Hellions suck against buildings, like you said, but even a Hellion can burn down a hatchery if they give him long enough.
Now, we do have 2 Thors on the way for EG Puma. It looks like we're going to be seeing some fun mech play out of Puma. It is always so interesting to watch, and it is really rare, but when executed properly, is super, super powerful.
And we do see Mutalisks coming out here for Idra as well. 7 of them about to pop. I don't believe there are any else on the field at the moment. But if we do look, of course, back at EG Puma's base, I don't see any turret. Here they go, just now dropping down. Good timing there from Puma. Gonna be able to get that turret down. He does have a Thor in each mineral line, so he will be perfectly safe against any sort of early muta aggression in general.
Yes, he will. Now, over at the third base, the hatchery did get cancelled for EG's Idra, and he is now dropping yet another hatchery. Just a little bit annoying. Nothing too big of a setback. Not too big of a setback. And we do have, once again, double Thor production. That is going to be a lot of Thors. I believe there are 2 out on the field already. And armor, vehicle weapons level 2. That is not armor, that is weapons, as well as Infernal Pre-Igniter. We are once again seeing a lot of heavy mech play out of EG Puma. And with the current composition of Idra, it's really good because he has the Hellions for the Zerglings and the Thor for the Mutalisk. But if Idra decides to do really any sort of tech switch, there could be some problems.
Although, to be honest, that being said, this particular style of play, the heavy Thor, heavy Hellion play, is actually been the bane of a lot of Zerg's existence at the moment. Actually, a lot of Zerglings is almost the only way to deal with these Thors, and they're going to be burned down by these Blue Flame Hellions here. And Mutalisks just, they don't do anything against Thors at all because they get bunched up in any way. The Thors are just going to be able to completely slaughter them. So a lot of Zergs have actually been complaining about the style, saying it's a little bit too strong, and it's definitely very, very powerful, and I'm sure EG Puma does know this.
Yes, EG Puma, very, very powerful Terran once again. Very good against Zerg. I would actually venture to say his TVZ is better than his TVP or TVT. We do have Idra taking his 4th base now. Sensor tower going up in a very good position.
There comes a ton of units coming out from Puma. Going to go ahead and start venturing forward onto that creep. There's the scan. Going to go ahead and start taking out some of those creep tumors. Not as big of a deal here because he does not have that slow pushing tank army. A couple SCVs, of course, here as well, trying to repair a little bit of this army. And EG's Idra just going to GG out of this game here. Knows he cannot face that force. He has no units. Caught completely with his pants down here. Only that few Mutalisks on the field, hoping that he'd be able to sort of poke Puma back, but obviously not. Idra deciding that he's just going to go ahead and back out of this one. I actually have to agree with this. He just doesn't have anything on the field.
He doesn't have anything on the field now, but he does have 14 roaches just about to pop. And while it may not have been quite enough, I would have liked to see him try to play that out just to see if he could take it. It's typical Idra.
I don't even want to say it like that. It's a best of 3 situation. I feel like he knows enough to know that Zergling Muta is not going to be able to defeat this composition in this particular timing. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here because that army definitely looks scary enough to at least take out the third, probably push up in a natural, and 14 roaches, 400 roaches isn't going to be able to deal with that.
Well, we may have our differences on that, but that does not deny the fact that this is a best-of-3 series, like you were saying. We still have at least one more game, maybe even 2 more games coming up in EG Pumas versus EG Idra. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stick around. We are going to be going into game number 2 in just a couple of moments.